Galakrond. Hey! Ahoy, Buccaneers and Buccarinas! Captain Ogiestone here, and we did it! Oh boy, we just wrapped up on chapter 4. The final chapter of Galakrond's Awakening. And I gotta say, as far as the story goes, that's awesome. It's really awesome. I love how in normal mode you're actually ending up, like, if you go the Explorer's route, it's the typical, you know, we're stopping the bad guy thing, but then, of course, it's revealed that Reno is a dragon. Who could have seen that one coming? But, in the villain's route, you just basically just take over Azeroth. Like, you beat Reno, and then you just sweep through, like, the Alliance and the Horde, and then you're like, okay. I've had my fun. Time to die, Galakrond, because Rafam makes his own rules, and he does things his own way. But you guys didn't come here to talk about the storyline. No, we came to talk about heroic mode. So before anything else, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy the content, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more, because that's how we roll. Okay. So is it any surprise that this is, like, really hard at this point? I mean, I know I keep saying that, but consider the fact that I'm limiting myself to standard-only cards. This is really hard. Standard-only strategies are like, oh. If anything, the easiest part was actually getting through George in the Explorer's route and George and Carl in the Villain's route. Both of them were really easy, oddly enough. In the case of George and Carl, all I did was end up going back to another fan favorite, Highlander Hunter, which it's not really any surprise. I mean, just basically it's just managing a lot of minions. The trick with George and Carl is that they're basically working off of 2 health bars, essentially, which is one is George's and one is Carl's. George's hero power basically gives his weapon +1 attack, while Carl's hero power gives a minion divine shield. But then they have a special card each where they'll swap partners. So all of a sudden, in the middle of the game, you'll be like fighting off George, and then he'll play a card and he'll be like swapping with Carl. So he'll have Carl's hit points, Carl's hero power, and suddenly all of his minions will get a +1/+1 buff. While with Carl, when he switches over to George, he gives all the minions on the field, I believe he gives them all Divine Shield. I don't think he gives them Taunt, but I do think he gives them at least Divine Shield, as I recall. Now, in my case, Highlander Hunter just ended up being like the perfect go-to deck for this, just because it's like you can answer a lot of things on board, sweep through threats, get rid of the masses, and I ended up even luckying out on like a couple of parts where it's just like I got a good dragon card out of the Discovering Dragon. So it's probable that Dragon Hunter could have even worked really well, especially since you got like Rotwing. So it's definitely something to just. It's a very fun little. I guess it was like a little fun little heroic sort of thing. And then in George's route, I actually did try doing something a little bit different, and it cost me some dust to do it too. Ah, man. But I still managed to do it, and turned out to be a pretty big thing. You might have heard of Embiggen Druid as of late, and Embiggen Druid is basically, the whole deck is just a bunch of super powerful, hard to get rid of monsters that get even stronger with the Embiggen Druid spell, which is a 0-mana spell that basically gives them +2/+2 in their stats, but it also increases their cost by 1 to mitigate that. Well, there's also Frizz, where if you're playing a lot of dragons, Frizz suddenly makes it so that, oh, that 2 cost that you get for +4/+4, well, now it's down again. And then you combine this with stuff like the Taunt Druid minion from the Adventure, which is like 7 mana, 6/8, Winged Protector, I believe. And you just basically outvalue the opponent with really big minions. And George, well, he couldn't handle that on his own. I don't know if he could have handled it better with Carl, but you know, those are probably the only ones I'd rather go back and check out on, in that case. As for the rest of you guys, I'm not gonna lie, I had an extremely hard time with the other 4 bosses in this chapter. And, it basically, it took me a good hour at least on each of them to beat them with the decks that I did end up beating them with. Well, I say that. Really, it just took me an hour to beat them. At least. Each. So, needless to say, I can't make any guarantees, but if you're going to try and limit yourself to just standard-only cards like I do, or you want to try and play these cards against these bosses, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. You would honestly, if you've got a bigger card collection, don't restrict your stuff to standard. Try and come up with something more broken than what I do. Because, man, it's hard enough to do it with just standard-only cards. But hey, then again, we do have some really powerful standard cards, so what can you do at that point? Except try. Let's talk about Togwaggle first, because it shouldn't come as any surprise. He's a very hard boss, but mostly it's not because of, well, the actual hero power and the minions and the weapon and all that. It's more of what he does to complement all of that. And boy, oh boy, it can be exhausting, to say the least. Like, it is just, it's an intense battle of just trying to figure out how to get rid of, how to basically make sure he doesn't kill you, while you're trying to keep him from summoning more of the wax things to keep him from getting the hero power. I actually tried stealing the weapon as a meme of sorts. I crafted a little guy because it was just like I only had enough dust to craft the one, but I was just kind of like, you know what, it's fine if I just do the one and do the thing, it'll be fine. It wasn't fine. It wasn't fine at all. I tried a few different things, but ultimately, there was a variation off of Galakrond Priest. You know the deck I've been, messing around with, because I figured, hey, maybe it'll work. Galakrond Quest Priest would probably be the thing. It's like, I just stop him from doing stuff. Still took me a while, but I did gear it a little bit more towards actually silencing the minions, especially with Mass Dispel. Because if he's summoning those 1/1s with that Death Rattle to get the Wax Lance and then boost the Wax Lance, it can be very difficult to, get around all of that. But if you just silence all the minions, then they're just a bunch of 1/1s, and that's not as threatening. Especially with Mass Dispel, where you also get to draw cards. So, eventually I got it to work, but I will not say that this was an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. It took me so long just to get around to that, and I don't even know what you would do, honestly, because the Wax Lances, the synergies with the Wax Lance is really, really hard. Like, I guess you could try and steal the weapon, or maybe you just maybe you just make a more weapon-hating kind of deck idea, where it's just like, maybe you play Warrior, and you use Weapons Project, and Ooze, various Oozes, Harrison Jones, especially when you get, like, a really big weapon or something like that. I don't really know, but point is, this was not a very easy fight in any stretch of the imagination. So, it was very difficult. Yeah. Oh my goodness, am I about to win? I just noticed his health. Oh my gosh, I think I just won. Oh man! Once again, frickin' MVP over here, the Sandhoof Water Bearer, continuing to keep me in it. Unbelievable. Yeah, it only feels appropriate. Stab him with his own lance! Jeez Louise. Why do I only have one water bearer in this deck? And of course, the amazing Reno and the villains route wasn't any easier. At all. Jeez. That guy just, I swear, he just RNGs his way to victory. Like, I tried fighting him off a bunch of times with a few different decks, and it just felt like every time he cast a spell, I feel like I played it enough, honestly, having played it so many times, it feels like there's only a selected number of spells that the game gravitates towards. They won't just pick out random spells across the broad collection of the game itself. No, it actually has a very specific setup of spells that it will randomly pick out from. And usually they're like, they got damage spells or freezing spells, or occasionally it's Arcane Intellect if it's a 3-mana card. It's usually going to be Arcane Missiles, it's usually going to be Cinderstorm, and it takes so much. Ugh. But I did end up beating it with Ra-chaelogy, eventually. Mostly with Ra-chaelogy was just stalling it out, so that way you could get the full combo going. And once I got that full combo going, he still tried to kill me, and he was doing so good, honestly. He got the Pyroblast going into the Highkeeper Ra, which is a 20/20. He dealt half its damage to it. He could have won. He had Ice Block, you guys. He just stopped all the damage for, like, he stopped himself from losing. But there was one thing he couldn't stop, as I found out, and maybe that's the real way of winning in the Reno route. He decked himself out, and he died to fatigue. If you can believe that, maybe that's the way to win against Reno Jackson. Deck him out, and then fatigue him till he dies. I mean, heck, he killed himself. I take that win. But he killed himself. And then we get to the last 2 bosses, and neither is easy. What a surprise. Rafam and Galakrond in the hero route is already a really tough boss to beat, because it's basically just, oh, here we go. I'm Rafam. I invoke, I summon some imps, I summon some stuff, and then when I summon Galakrond himself, you will have to face off against the mighty dragon of dragons, and you get the idea. You don't have to worry about all that, but would it be kind of funny if I told you Ra-chaelogy beat that guy too? Yeah, go figure. Turns out, summoning a bunch of giant dragons and 8/8s and all that sort of thing, doesn't matter if I can just blow up the board with 20/20s and also deal 20 damage. Also get a second copy to deal 20 more damage.
Okay. That's not a problem, really. This way. Play it. Gone. This. It's all good. This. The dragon. It's all good. It's all good. We're good. We're fine. Okay, come on, though! Twice in a row, come on, though. Come on, though. Something to put in front of you. We did it! We got Glenn the Crowskin. Okay, that is unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary.
Crush them, Galakrond! I have the greatest job.
I have the greatest job. No! 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 Yeah. Wait, actually, can I? Oh, wait, no, I got Grim Rally. Sweet. Okay. It worked! It worked! 88 miles per hour! Behold the power of Ra! Ra! If only we had a way to do something against this giant Ra! Oh look, it's Highkeeper Ra. Your world beyond redemption! Boom! Ra! Yes! There is one power greater than Galakrond, and it's Ra! Victory for the explorers!
Ah, truly. Galakrond is truly powerful, but Highkeeper Ra is all-powerful. So, I guess the other question is, how did I beat Galakrond? Well, I didn't beat him with Ra-chaelogy, I can tell you that. Turns out, Galakrond in the villains route is even more insane than Rafam and Galakrond. And that says a lot. To be fair, basically whenever Galakrond in the villains route is invoking, he just summons an 8/8 with taunt. That's really hard to beat. That's extremely hard to beat. You do get the benefit of starting out with 3 mana crystals on your first turn, so you're on a more level playing field. And I use the term level loosely, but there's just only so much you could do against an onslaught of 8/8s. And when he can play like a 1 mana card that summons an 8/8, a 2 mana card that summons an 8/8, a 3 mana card that summons an 8/8, if he can kill one of your minions and summon an 8/8, you run out of steam pretty fast. And that's not even getting into the fact that he even has the invoke twice guys as well, or the 5/4 Mega Wind Fury Claw. So, how did I do it? How did I finally end up destroying the Dragon? If I couldn't use the power of Ra against him, if I couldn't, if I couldn't beat him with Highlander, which could never possibly be able to keep up with that, if Galakrond Priest itself couldn't keep up with the mighty dragon of dragons, then what could possibly beat him? What if I told you it was a tiny little pig? Oh yeah. Oh, we did that.
Oh, thank God. Alright. Yes. Oh, I think it's happening. Oh, all he has to do is not put a taunt. Yes, we got it. I think we got it. Oh my God. Oh my God, I think we got it. I think we did it. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. He doesn't have a taunt. Okay, alright. Now I have to think about this. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Amet.
I see a dark future.
Pig. He gets... Swap it. We dupe it! We did it! We did it! Ah! Yes! Take that! Evil triumphs! Oh, and so do OTKs. Yes! Oh, that's beautiful. That feels good. That feels good.
That is right. May I introduce you to Amet OTK? This is... You gotta meme a boss. You gotta meme him super hard. And Amet OTK is definitely the way to go about it. The thing about Amet OTK is that, well, especially with this particular version, this version was more so designed specifically to go against the boss, where you could just kill off a lot of these giant 8/8 dragons, you mass hysteria the board so that it just goes crashing into each other. But the biggest thing about Amet OTK is that it revolves around a specific draw engine, Gadgets and Auctioneer, which, combined with a ton of the 0 mana Priest spells, which, by the way, Priest has a god-awful lot of 0 mana spells, well, basically, you can just draw a bunch of your combo pieces, and then you just OTK your opponent. But how do you OTK Galakrond, which starts out at 150 health? That's really tough. Well, you Alex Straza him. And then you meme him. Super hard. Oh yeah. We memed that boss so good. For the win. So, that's the only way I can think of to... I mean, what better ending could you ask for? Who would win in an epic contest? The father of dragons, the Dragon himself, the mightiest of all creatures, or one tiny little pig man. Little tiny pig boy. Little boy, little tush. Couldn't ask for a better ending than that. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, as I said before. We do Overwatch videos on Tuesdays, Hearthstone videos on Thursdays, and Yu-Gi-Oh videos on Fridays. Now, I'm just gonna take a breather, because there's just so much going on. There's so many things. It's gonna... At least now the meta can settle down, too. Maybe we can finally figure out what the best deck is. Because it's certainly not Warlock, that's all I'm saying.